We're going to review this article posted the other day by the Financial Post. Drinking housing bubble tea. Report labeling Toronto, Vancouver markets as frothy contradicts itself. Before we go any further, I'm David Chinelli. I'm a realtor here in Toronto. If you like this content or other content, whether any platform you're on, please like or subscribe or do your thing. Anyway, let's jump to the article. UBS, a European bank, recently named both Toronto and Vancouver as having some of the frothiest housing markets in the world. But don't be too alarmed. When you take a deeper dive into the article, you notice that some of its messaging and conclusions are contradictory. AG's annual Real Estate Bubble Index, which tracks housing markets across 25 cities, indicated that Toronto is the highest risk of having a bubble, and it also considered Vancouver's market as being bubbling. The report indicated that Toronto may be the highest risk of bubbling, but it is not the most expensive city on the list. One of the metrics the report uses is affordability. How long would it take a skilled worker to pay off a 650 square foot condo in the downtown core? In Toronto, it takes about 7 years, which puts it in the bottom half of the list. When you compare it to other cities on the list like Hong Kong, it takes 25 years to pay off that same size unit. And if you're living in Paris, it takes about 15 years. Another metric is how long would an apartment need to be rented in order to pay off its mortgage? In Toronto, that's about 26 years, which puts it in about the middle of the list. Toronto and Vancouver even failed to make the top of the list when it came to annual increases in housing prices. Those honors went to Miami, LA, and San Francisco. Toronto and Vancouver came in 7th and 8th place, respectively. Well, what about scarcity of supply? Is that the reason that Toronto and Vancouver are having high increases in both rents and sale prices? Well, unfortunately, that is not the same across all 25 cities, and therefore it is not the reason for the rapid increases we've seen here in Canada. All in all, you have to take the report with a grain of salt. There are 25 cities all spread out across the world, which have fundamental limitations both in their population sizes as well as different housing markets. But the report lumps them all together and doesn't really describe how each of those population and markets affect its score. Despite housing market bubble alarms, urban area populations are expected to increase, which implies that prices will also increase in the long run. So what is the report's main message? Well, hidden under all the bubble risks, the report states that sales and prices should continue their upward trajectory. Well, what do you think about that? Do you think the Toronto and Vancouver markets are going to continue to go up? What about in the near future? Are we going to see them bottom out? Have they bottomed out? I'd like to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you feel about this article and the housing market.